and we're feeling better about some aspects of the Cowboys after the Steeler game. Do you feel the same?
I do. You can start with respect that we have for Roethlisberger, respect that we have for the Pittsburgh team, and then you look at how we competed against them, especially with our defense, and we should be encouraged because we got better fits. We had some players that really looked like they were not having to think and then react. All of the things that you look for, it's very positive. We played, of course, a complimentary game by not having those turnovers early. You know, back in the early part of the year, we just killing ourselves there, even before we lost Dak, with our turnovers and just putting our defense in such a bind apart from its issues that we needed to get corrected with individual fits. And so bottom line is we got to get out there with the right kind of field position, complementary football. The defense really was encouraging. And so to that end, it was really good. It was wonderful to see those players feel good about how they individually, how they had met the challenge. And you could see it throughout the game. They just had the kind of enthusiasm that you'd hope for all year long.
Jerry, Mike Nolan was getting killed throughout the season early on, and everyone wanted him fired. How much more comfortable are these guys with Coach Nolan's system, and how's that been coming along here over the past few weeks?
Well, we basically were in the same system technically for approximately 10 years here. We talk about Pittsburgh continuity and how they've been in their defensive system for years and years, and they have. But we've been in the same system for many, many years. And you could always second guess. And when we look and say, look, you weren't going to have a training camp, you weren't going to have really the type of transition time that you normally get when you change system, new coaches, that type of thing. So in hindsight, it was a bad time to basically be making changes, although we weren't doing it with just players that had been here. We did it this fall with players that had been other places. And so you add all of that up, and then you look at that early field position that we didn't have early in our season. And so I think you can cut Nolan some slack there.
Jerry Jones here on The Fan. We got to get you to brag and talk about the performance of Neville Gallimore. I think Steven came on the station last week and said he was really starting to show some signs of getting it. And then one of your favorites, Randy Gregory, it looks like he's picked up some weight, and he made a bunch of plays on Sunday. Talk about Gallimore and Gregory for us, Jerry.
Yeah. Well, but what should appeal to all of our fans and does to me is the future there. But more importantly, it just shows what playtime, what repetition, what it does for any player. And you're seeing that right before your eyes. Those guys are talented guys. They, like any football player, they have to have repetition, and basically you get better with that. You're seeing it. I would tell you that I'm excited about their future. What is real exciting is that they really have a lot of upside, both of them, a lot of room to get better and better. And it's just human that once you see things, it works, you buy in, your own confidence buys into it. Then you just get better and better and better. And that's the dilemma. Do you play a veteran player that can possibly do it for that series or that game better, or do you go with a younger player that you allow to develop? When you're having the kind of season we're having, then you're going with the younger players, and you're seeing it right before your eyes pay off for you.
Jerry Jones joined us here at 105.3 The Fan. When Andy Dalton is cleared and healthy and ready to go, based on Gilbert's play the other day, who is your starting quarterback when all players are healthy outside of Dak?
Well, Andy is. When we signed Andy, I really thought we had arguably the best backup quarterback that I've ever been associated with, and we've had some good ones in Jason Garrett, and I don't want to overlook guys like that, or Bernie Kosar, which are really names from the past, but still, to have Andy Dalton as your backup quarterback when, in fact, Andy is, in my mind, a very legitimate starter. What does Andy bring? Andy brings the things that we were talking about with Gilbert, his calmness, his ability to get you in the right, checked into the right way to approach how that defense is lining up, then to execute it with some quick reads. What you saw in Gilbert, that's what Andy Dalton is and has been for many, many years, has made Pro Bowl doing it. So he's the guy. It's, again, it's unbelievable that here we've had him and hadn't really been able to get him out there but a little part of the first time he came in for Dak. But we haven't had him for the last 3 ball games. It would have been a big difference.
Jerry, because, Garrett, played pretty well, and a lot of people, myself included, would say, hey, this guy deserves another start, another chance. How do you weigh the hot hand, if you want to call it that, the way the team responded against Pittsburgh and played a really tough game versus what we've seen from Andy in the limited time he played? Well,
you just have to, the good things that you saw Gilbert do, you say, well, is there just a lot more of that with Andy? And there is. There just is. And you take that last drive. Andy Dalton has taken that last drive before and taken it and got you a score. That's not anything against Gilbert. And Andy could have been in the same spot and not scored. We all know that. But the bottom line is that it is clear, and just simply look at your experience, your numbers, and look at everything else. And it's clear that you just get more of. But what you saw was good, sound, getting you in the right spot, making a good decision after the ball was snapped, basically made a few plays with his legs, all of those kinds of things. Hello, Andy Dalton, but at potentially a much higher level.
Jerry, NFL Network this morning is reporting that Diggs suffered a fractured bone, out 4 to 6 weeks, and maybe his 2020 season could be over. Can you confirm that, and how will you guys weigh whether to bring Trayvon back this year or not?
I don't know the prognosis in terms of how long he'll be out. I do know that he's got the issue with his foot. I do not know the ultimate length of time that he'll be out. But it sure explains a lot. We all were wondering when we had Pittsburgh on their goal line, on their own 1-foot line, having 99, 9/10 yards to go, and how in the world we weren't up there with Diggs and on top of those receivers and let them have that gift to the outside there for about 3 straight, let them come off that goal line. How did that happen? Well, that explains it. He was playing with a broken foot out there. To his credit, he was playing with courage. Would like to get to have gotten somebody out there quicker without a broken foot. Don't know it would have made any difference, but that was a key possession for Pittsburgh coming off that goal line. But it was obvious that he was limited.
Hey, Jerry, one of the key moments of this game, especially in the fourth, were the penalties on your linebackers. Jaylon Smith got a couple of them. What did you think of the calls, and what is your overall assessment of Jaylon's play since you guys gave him his extension?
Well, I think Jaylon Smith is he's got parts of his game that are just outstanding. And I'm glad we've got Jaylon Smith. I'm glad we've got him for sure on the basis that we've got him. And he really has so much that he brings to our defense. We don't have a player out there that doesn't have things that he wants to improve on and can be better. But boy, I'm glad we've got him. He's one of our cornerstones, and he'll get better and better and better. Remember, those guys have to sit there as we two-gap those interior down linemen, and they're deciding which way they're going to go rather than just go one way quickly in a one gap, then that linebacker has to read which way he goes and go the other way for the most part. That takes a little time. That's what you're seeing get used to. That'll get better.
Jerry Jones joins us here, 105.3 The Fan. The Steelers had a player that appears to have tested positive for COVID. How has that impacted what you guys are going to do? I know you guys are taking the day off of practices, but any other stricter guidelines that you guys are going to have to follow?
Well, I don't want to take something that's been really well thought out, practiced, and proven as a procedure, but we now have developed a way that when the other team you played has a positive test, then we know how to circle around that and try to limit any exposure, any more exposure than you already have to but be even more careful.
Have you guys had any recent positives as a result of checking after the Steeler game and they're positive, Jerry?
You mean yesterday? Or
yes,
this morning?
I'm sorry. Whenever the last time you've
talking about
tested.
the Steeler game Sunday. No, the one you see reported is it that I'm aware of.
Okay. Jerry, last thing on the Steelers, always wanted to ask you about this. Dave Wannstedt, one of your former coaches, said Dan Rooney was offered the title of America's team first. You saw the fans in the stadium. Roethlisberger said afterwards, you see, we're the world's team. Do you ever regret having the title of America's team? Is it a consistent target on y'all's back? Is it totally worth it in terms of the branding, the exposure? How do you ever go back and forth on the title of America's team?
Well, I don't. We were dubbed America's team when I got here. Tex Schramm was very proud of it, and it came about. It actually was done. And I don't know the kind of nuances that Wannstedt was talking about, but I do know how it was decided with NFL Films. Very familiar with that, and it's not a point of anything. It's just I thought it was more appropriate. The Cowboys came along right as television hit, big. And we had Crazy Ray, we had our great mascot, we had the aura of Landry, and we just caught hold. And it's more about the non-NFL markets, and it's the Heatherland, if you will, of that interest that's out there, and it's a combination of it not being checkered tablecloths or boots, but it actually being the audacity to have the hats and the glitz and the glamour and the basically aura of a city team. Tex Schramm told me one time, he said, Jerry, we're not about sawdust and boots. He said, we're about glitz and glamour. And but the bottom line is those are just reminders to me of those years when I first got here, and I was just looking at the same thing everybody else was looking at, and that is, look, they're called America's team, but more importantly, they always have had a huge interest with the viewing television audience around the United States. Really, it is just unbelievable the kind of interest that's there, one way or the other. Always usually either the most hated team other than the hometown team of another NFL team, or the second most popular team to the favorite team. All of that kind of interest, and that's alive and well. It just creates a lot of interest. On or off the field, during the season or out of the season, there's a little soap opera going on all the time.
Jerry, does the excitement, the talk that media and fans have about the possibility of a high draft pick, does it bother you that we're here in Week 9 that we're talking, hey, let's get a high draft pick? Does that bother you as a competitor, as the owner?
Bother is not. Now, don't get me wrong. If we earn it, I'll take it. But what is real important to know is that when I think of a football season in the NFL, and I look at 7 more regular season games to go, my memory is of a 10-game college football season. That's 70% of a college football season left to play. And so I see huge amounts of football to play, and I see it being played at the most important time of all, and that's here in the fourth quarter. That's here with everything's still out there to be had. Everybody's challenged with injuries. You could have real adjustments made by COVID, all of those kinds of things. And so what I don't see is time being spent on what to do about where that top pick or those top picks in each round matter. But when that time comes, the higher picks that we've got, we're proud of them and want to use them. That's just that much more capital to build the team with.
Right now, it looks like we're in line for the 3rd pick. Now, it could move up, could move down, but if it stays at 3, is it crazy to bring up the idea of taking a quarterback with the 3rd pick or the 2nd pick, if you may have it?
Yes. You asked me if it's crazy to bring the idea up, and I'm answering you, yes. We're playing games here, guys, but it's not the thing to be talking about at all. You know, Dak is our quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry, great answer.
That's the right answer, too. That's the right answer.
Thank you, RJ, for signing off on Jerry's answer. Jerry, have a great day. You doing anything?
All right.
Thank you, Jerry. Enjoy the bye week as well.
Have a good day. Bye.
There is Jerry Jones every single Tuesday, and that was more emphatic than Steven yesterday. Great job by the media asking Steven, would you entertain a quarterback at 3? That's where you sit in the draft right now, and Jerry was much more emphatic right there than he was yesterday. Jerry, brought to you by your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford, built for Texas, built for you. Okay. Takes a tiny bit of the wind out of our sails for that topic moving forward. Selfishly, I was hoping he would fire a little shot towards Dak and his team of, no, nothing's crazy to talk about. Nothing's crazy to bring up, but he slammed it right there. We want Dak Prescott here, and we want him around. So there you go. It's crazy to be bringing it up as a topic.
Yeah. Now, look, if you're at number 1 and you got Trevor Lawrence, who may be generational, okay, then you can have that discussion. You know, and as big of a Dak fan as I am, I think he's the top 5-6 quarterback in the league. And there's a good chance that Lawrence never gets there. There's also a chance that Lawrence becomes the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
Or the 2nd best. And I don't know if Dak gets there as much as I am a huge fan of his. I don't know that he gets to that point.
Other things to recap from Jerry just then, it's definitely Andy Dalton over Garrett Gilbert. I mean, he was just effusive in his praise over Andy, maybe the best backup quarterback we've ever had here. He also went out of his way. He didn't even talk about Jalen Smith's penalties. He went out of his way to praise Jalen Smith and the future that he has. Called him a cornerstone, said that he has parts of his game that are absolutely outstanding, but I think I'm going to more rely on Albert Breer saying there are people within the building not happy with Jalen's play and that they are looking at ways to maybe get out of that future contract. But he definitely defended Jalen Smith right there. And Diggs, he said Diggs had a broken foot. He doesn't know the timeline, but he confirmed that Trayvon was running around with a broken foot. NFL Network has him out 4 to 6 weeks, and the season may be over for Diggs moving forward. Anything else jump out to you?